Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, a shooting terror attack on a public bus this morning, leaving 7 Israelis injured in the Jordan Valley. Meanwhile, the 50th anniversary of the Munich Olympics Massacre coming up, and the victims' families again speaking out against hate. And for the first time in years, Druze from the Northern Golan Heights increasingly applying for Israeli citizenship. But why now? Shots fired at a public bus this morning and 7 Israelis injured in a horrific and cowardly West Bank terror attack that the Hamas terror group in Gaza is calling heroic. 2 heavily armed Palestinian terrorists arrested and a third on the run following a terrible terrorist shooting attack on a public bus Sunday morning. At least 2 Israelis in critical condition airlifted to hospital while some 4 more treated for their injuries in the field. According to reports, the terror suspects, residents of Jenin, carried out a drive-by shooting attack on the bus in the Jordan Valley. The bus driver and 5 passengers wounded. Additionally, the assailants allegedly attempted to throw firebombs at the transport, which backfired and set their own car ablaze. It's perhaps thanks to this accident that the attack was not far more grievous. Meantime, Israeli authorities launching a manhunt for the remaining perpetrator, and the roads in the area shut down to normal traffic, especially as this past week alone has seen a number of terror attacks. Palestinian gunmen firing at multiple posts in the West Bank, and a soldier stabbed on Friday near Hebron. Israeli President Isaac Herzog and First Lady Michal arriving in Germany on Sunday ahead of the official commemoration ceremony for the 50th anniversary of the 1972 Munich Olympics Massacre.
I was only married 1 year and 3 months to Andre. We were a young couple, very much in love, with a small baby. You know, we were on top of the world. He was chosen to go to the Olympics, which for every athlete, that is the dream, you know. So when I was in the room, I was with him at the Olympics, and I was in the room after they were murdered, just a few hours afterwards. And I looked around. Everything was with blood. The blood came down the stairs. It was on the ceiling.
September 5, 1972. 11 Israelis and a German police officer brutally murdered by Palestinian terrorists at the Olympic Games in Munich. And today, 50 years later, Israeli President Herzog and the 11 victims' families returning to Germany for the official commemorations. This will be Herzog's first official visit to Germany since taking office, and he's expected to address the German Bundestag as well as visit the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp with senior German officials. The Israeli victims' families, however, returning to Germany after many unfortunate visits, amidst years of efforts to get information on their loved ones' murders, as well as compensation from the German government, compensation that was only last week agreed to in hopes of preventing a boycott of the commemoration itself.
I said to President Steinmeier, we are not beggars, and don't make beggars out of us. Our husbands and fathers will never be able to, you can never pay enough money for them, but make an offer which is acceptable so that we can close this and close the 50 years in a dignified way.
But of course, despite reaching an accord, the wound's still running deep, particularly in light of the decades of Germany's evasiveness in revealing the fruits of investigations to the victims' families, as well as the failure to secure the Olympic Village and the bungled rescue attempts. For one, Israeli special forces offered their help during the hostage crisis, which was refused outright despite Germany not having an anti-terror unit at the time. And today, German anti-terror expert and commander of the Federal Police Directorate admitting that German forces were unprepared for the mission. Officer Olav Lidner saying, from an operational point of view and from what we know about what happened, there's no doubt that Israel's special units at the time would have ensured a much better outcome and rescue of the Israeli hostages. Again, though, above all else, the families are committed to honoring the memories of those murdered and speaking out against hate for the rest of their lives.
הטראומה של 72 לגביי תישאר. אני תקווה שהעולם מבין יותר ומוכן לעשות יותר, והכי חשוב, זה לא לתמוך בטרור, ולהבין שהטרור הורס כל חלקה טובה.
The Hamas terror group announcing Sunday that it executed 5 Palestinians in Gaza, including 3 for criminal cases and 2 for alleged collaboration with Israel. Joining me to discuss the killings is senior lecturer with the Department of Middle East Studies at Ariel University and member of the Israel Victory Project, Dr. Gadi Chitman. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to talk.
It's our pleasure. Now, first of all, executions like this in Gaza, are they rare?
No, it's not rare at all. If you look back to the history of Hamas, ever since they took control on the Gaza Strip on June 2007, you can find several cases that they killed people that they were believed that were collaborators of the Israeli intelligence institutions. So it's not typically rare. Last time it happened, it was in 2017.
So why now?
It's okay. I tell you why now. Because we are after breaking down operation, and Hamas believed that the PIJ, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, were infiltrated by the Israeli intelligence forces, trying to kill seniors such as Taysir Jabari and Khalid Mansour. And Hamas probably or apparently believed also that the Hamas itself is infiltrated by agents. And in order to deliver a message to the Gaza population that they should not collaborate with the Israelis, they find some people that they believe that have any sort of connections to Israel and executed them. If you read the news carefully, you saw that there are no names,
right?
And of those who were killed, which obviously raised the question: who exactly are these people? If I recall correct, they were between the age of 44 and 54. It means that there are no young people in the 20s or the 30s. So you should really ask yourself. Who exactly were these people? But it's now because they want to deliver a message to the population. Don't do it. Don't help the Israelis.
Well, so that brings me to my next question. Hamas claims that the executed parties, first of all, had a chance to appeal, but at least one victim is said to have committed his crime less than 6 weeks ago. So what is the judicial process in Gaza like? Is it a farce, or is it maybe just happens to be that efficient?
That's a good question, because we are all used to thinking Western thought, but there is no Western thought within the Gaza Strip, and we never know exactly how the legal system is working there, because they simply don't tell us how it works. Obviously, they made a public statement which said that they went through all the legal procedures as expected in the West, but you don't have an access to check how exactly it works. By the way, in the previous cases in 2017 and before, they never told to the press exactly what they did, and we should not be surprised by that. But if you try to connect it to the victory issue that we are talking about generally here, so obviously if Hamas does such an act now, less than a month after breaking down is over, and there is an unofficial ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, it means that they are under pressure, and they wanted to show something, even symbolic, to the population in Gaza, that they know exactly what people are doing day by day.
All right. So again, if we go back to these so-called apparent collaborators. One of them was assumed to have supplied information on Hamas in 1991 and the other in 2001. based on their ages and some of the names that have come out in social media, for example, in Abu Ali Express on the blog, is there any way to verify these claims?
No, you can verify it. First of all, in 1991, Israel was the dominant power in the Gaza Strip. So Hamas was at that time simply a terror or social organization.
Hi everyone, it's Emmanuel Kadosh. I wanted to invite you all to subscribe to ILTV Plus, where you can find our daily news and updates about Israel. And not only that, but live feeds, entertainment, our kosher food show, and so much more. Needless to say, your subscription to ILTV Plus helps us grow and create more content while also supporting the state of Israel. Our app is available on all platforms and devices, so I'll see you guys there.